Good morning to everyone here, all our beloved family members. Let me introduce myself first. I always start this way to ease my nerves. My name is Wu Yi Ti, Wu from Mayday, Yi from one person, and Ti from female body. If you think my name suits me, could you give me a round of applause? Any screams out there? Let me say this. Everyone just finished drinking the Huanli beverage, so you should all be full of energy, right? Great, thank you all. And today, let me reiterate, I am Wu Yiti, the Rose Master of Atomy. What I'm bringing to you today is, look at this. This signature color. See how much thought I put into it? What color is this? Yes, it's the color of Huanli Drink G, right? That's right. Today, I'm here to bring you a special offer on Huanli Drink G. But first, I want to start with a question for everyone to think about. Which is more important, treating illness or regulating your constitution? Well, we always say, why not both? Both are important, right? Right. But think about this. There are so many people who diligently go to the hospital and see doctors to treat their illnesses, but the more medicine they take, the stronger the doses become. And the more they treat, the more illnesses they seem to get. But there are also people who start by adjusting their physical constitution, and their bodies actually become healthier and healthier. So when it comes to treating illness versus adjusting one's constitution, this is a question I want to pose to everyone right from the start. It's something worth thinking about carefully. So should we focus on treating illness or on adjusting our constitution? As for myself, I really like to use this analogy. Today, I'm not here to give you a dose of chicken soup for the soul, but rather fish soup. I really enjoy using this as a metaphor. Let's say I have a fish pond right now, and in it, there are 11 fish. I like to use this as a comparison because I think maintaining health is a lot like raising fish. If today, in this fish pond, there are 11 fish, if you want these 11 fish to be healthy and strong, where do you think the key lies? Some people might think I'm about to make a joke, but just follow my logic here. Some might say, right, it's about giving them good feed, isn't it? Okay, but even if you provide the best feed, if the water quality in the pond is dirty, then no matter how good the feed is, it's all in vain, isn't it? Right? So actually, I think that maintaining good health is really just like the concept of raising fish. And why is it 11 fish? It's just like how our body's 5 organs and 6 viscera add up to exactly 11, right? Your heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys, and even your brain, your digestive tract, and so on. So I really think this metaphor is excellent. Now, if today, for the fish in the pond to be healthy, it's not just about giving them good feed, but also about having good water quality, right? If we compare that to the human body, for our bodies to be healthy, our 5 organs and 6 viscera need to function properly. Isn't the fundamental key our constitution? And the most crucial foundation of our constitution comes from the quality of our blood. As long as you keep the water in your pond clean, the fish inside will naturally be healthy. So, if you can find a way to keep your blood and your constitution healthy and clean, then your 5 organs and 6 viscera will naturally be healthy as well. All right, so let's suppose today, the water in the fish pond. If the water gets dirty, won't the fish inside start to get sick, and some might even die? At this point, when we go to the hospital for treatment, basically, doctors use 3 main methods. The first method is to medicate the entire pond. So, if you look at this picture, once the medicine is put in, the whole pond's fish are affected. All of them end up ingesting the medicine, right? So, in order to treat just one sick fish, all the other healthy fish are also harmed by the medication. It's just like when you go to the hospital for treatment and the doctor prescribes you Western medicine. When you take it, you have to bear the side effects of the medication. Have you ever thought about this, right? For example, in Taiwan, there are a lot of people with diabetes. The most common side effects of diabetes medication are gastrointestinal issues or effects on kidney function. Similarly, there are also many people with high cholesterol. As for cholesterol-lowering Western medicines, the most common side effects are impacts on liver function and the possibility of rhabdomyolysis. So when you take medicine to treat an illness, other parts of your body will inevitably suffer from the harm and side effects of the medication. That's the first approach. Doctors focus on treating your main problem. So what about the second approach? Throwing away the bad fish. What does that mean? If a fish gets sick, you just throw it away, right? If we use this as a metaphor for our bodies, when we get sick, the doctor might say, "You have gallstones, so let's remove your gallbladder." If you have a large uterine fibroid, the entire uterus is removed. You've probably heard of that, right? Now think about it. Personally, I believe that every organ and part of our body has its own necessity. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I'm generally not in favor of removing organs one by one like that. But if you throw away the small fish today, you might start to worry about the bigger fish behind it. There could be potential health concerns. For example, I just had my gallbladder removed because of gallstones, right? So why does someone get gallstones? Actually, you have to consider that it might be related to their liver function. If the liver is relatively weak and doesn't secrete enough bile, the bile can become too concentrated and stagnant, eventually forming gallstones. So for people with gallstones, you should also consider that their liver function might be poor. And then, why is the gallbladder removed? It could be because this person has issues with their digestive system or bowel movements, so they're unable to eliminate cholesterol from their digestive tract. If your intestines function smoothly and cholesterol is excreted, your bile isn't reabsorbed, and your gallbladder's cholesterol metabolism is normal. People who had their gallbladder removed might also need to consider whether their digestive tract is functioning properly. Why else might the gallbladder be removed? Because their blood cholesterol is high. If cholesterol remains high in the blood for a long time, the liver produces bile, which can eventually lead to gallstones. Just having gallstones. The removal of the gallbladder may indicate potential health concerns with 3 major organs. Do you remember which 3 organs I mentioned earlier? The liver, the digestive tract, and blood cholesterol, right? So all 3 aspects are affected. Now let's talk about the third approach, replacing the fish. If one fish gets sick, you just replace it with another one. This is similar to how advanced modern medicine is. We can replace hearts, livers, and kidneys. For example, if someone is a carrier of hepatitis B and they receive a liver transplant, but the hepatitis B isn't properly managed, the healthy transplanted liver will also become infected with hepatitis B. Right? Are you all still awake? I'm feeling really energetic. Actually, from up here, all I see is a sea of darkness. I can't really see everyone clearly because of the lighting. So, I've been thinking a lot about what the key is to not only treating illness and taking medicine, but also figuring out how to improve the quality of your water, to purify it, and also to find ways to nurture and improve your overall constitution. So, when I asked everyone at the beginning today, treating illness and improving your constitution really isn't an either-or choice. If you're sick, you should see a doctor right away and follow the doctor's treatment properly. At the same time, you also need to pay attention to nurturing and adjusting your constitution. That way, the more you treat it, the less likely it is to get worse. So what about people who aren't sick? What about those who are healthy? Truly wise people start laying the foundation for their health every day while they're still healthy, developing a constitution that isn't easily prone to illness. Do you agree? All right, so are there any particular herbal extracts in the entire world that actually possess robust scientific evidence to definitively support their efficacy and safety? With so-called scientific evidence, we can purify the water in our reservoir, regulate our blood, nourish our blood, and truly improve our constitution so that we're less likely to get sick. Is there even something that can help people recover faster from illness than others? Does such a thing exist in this world? Yes, you all know this, right? So what about so-called scientific evidence? Here, I'm referring to the National Institutes of Health in the United States, known as the NIH. This is actually the highest research institution under the U.S. federal government, and it oversees the U.S. National Library of Medicine. If you're familiar with it, you'll recognize the green logo. Among them, they have established an online database, highlighted here in pink, called the Biomedical Literature Search Database, known in English as PubMed. So if you search for this on Google, you'll be able to find this database yourself. So actually, this database has no commercial aspect at all. You can't just pay money to have your work appear in this database. Everything that appears in this database is scientific papers and scientific evidence. All right, so I went to this scientific paper database to find out whether there is any so-called scientific evidence that a compound extract from these natural herbal plants can help regulate and improve our constitution. Because I myself come from a medical background, I don't like to share overly subjective feelings or experiences. I tend to focus more on data, theories, evidence, and papers, basically only saying as much as the evidence supports. That's the concept I follow. All right, so from now on in this segment, I will take everyone to appreciate and examine this herbal compound extract from a scientific research perspective. Does it really have a health-promoting effect on our body's blood formation and on the 11 organs of the body, or even more than 11? That's why I will always include the source of the scientific literature in the upper left corner. This means that it truly references classical sources. The first thing to mention is that in terms of hematopoietic blood-forming function, it involves extracting from the spleen cells, specifically from the spleen organ. So, what did the researchers do? They looked at two aspects. One was the number of lymphocyte cells, and the other was the number of natural killer cells. The results showed that as age increases, aging occurs. Did you see it in the green footage? After aging, do the numbers of these lymphocytes and natural killer cells increase or decrease? A bit louder. All right, so what this scientific evidence helps us understand is that as we age, our hematopoietic blood-forming function declines. Up to this point, everyone can understand, right? Okay, so what we found is that in the elderly group, the researchers administered something after giving them a herbal compound extract. It can improve the hematopoietic function that had declined due to aging. Do you see that? After adding it, the function is enhanced, right? Whether it's the number of lymphocytes or the number of natural killer cells, both can be increased. So this proves that the herbal compound extract can effectively enhance hematopoietic function. Do you understand? And then the second point, which is also mentioned in scientific papers, is about immune function. And I think this part is extremely, let me say it 10 times, amazing. Why? Because it helps the immune system achieve balance. This isn't the kind of balance talked about in Chinese or traditional Chinese medicine, but rather in Western medicine. In English, they specifically say it can help achieve balance. So how exactly does it balance things? The evidence here shows that the value on the left is about interferon. As we age, does it increase or decrease? All right, and what about the indicator on the right, interleukin? As we age, does it go up or down? That's right, it does indeed increase. So have you noticed that as we age and our body's cells start to age as well, our immune function doesn't just simply decline? Instead, some indicators go down while others go up. So as we get older, our immune cells and immune system start to become unbalanced. Do you understand? All right, so let's continue. As we look further, after researchers added herbal extracts, you'll notice something truly remarkable. It restored the interferon levels that had originally decreased due to aging. And what happened as a result? It also lowered the interleukin levels that had increased with age. This truly achieves bidirectional regulation. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Wow, this is exactly what scientifically formulated herbal extracts can achieve. This is the effect they can have on the body. So in the future, when we describe or claim their effects on immune function, please don't say they strengthen or boost it, but rather that they help to balance it. The immune system. All right, so the third scientific point I want to help everyone understand is this. After it can promote blood circulation, stimulate the production of blood cells, and thereby regulate immunity, can it also make various organs throughout the body healthier and more activated? That's my line of reasoning. So, this particular study explores the mucosal cells of the small intestine. They divided it into 3 groups. This is a histological image of the small intestine. So on the far left is the healthy control group. You can see the villi of the small intestine, each one distinct. Oh, this is a tissue that looks like a sponge, so when you eat food, it's absorbed by the sponge-like villi and can enter your digestive tract. This is the healthy control group. Now, the group in the middle received radiation treatment. As a result, after undergoing this kind of treatment, all of the small intestinal villi were completely severed. Do you see any good results? In the third group, on the right side, they also received radiation, but this time with the addition of the herbal compound extract I mentioned earlier. It was able to maintain the length of the small intestinal villi. Of course, it wasn't as impressive as in completely healthy subjects, but compared to the radiation-only group, wasn't it able to preserve about 70 to 80% of the villi length? So, does this truly mean it can protect the mucous membrane of your intestines? Got it? If so, I'll move on, and I'll need to speed up a bit. Next, looking at the ovarian tissue sections. In the healthy control group, the ovary had 9 eggs, which I've highlighted for everyone with a yellow box. The group in the middle here is the polycystic ovary group. This is, in clinical practice, some women develop polycystic ovary syndrome. Okay, so the incidence of this condition is roughly among women of reproductive age. It's about 10%, so 1 out of every 10 women has polycystic ovary syndrome. One of the symptoms or manifestations is that the number of viable eggs in her ovaries decreases, making infertility more likely and affecting her ability to conceive. So in the middle, the circled number of viable eggs is only 3, right? Next, on the right side, it's also the polycystic group. After adding the herbal compound extract, the number of viable eggs, which was originally only 3, increased to 6. Isn't that amazing? So this is also very strong evidence that it's beneficial for ovarian health and revitalizing the ovaries. Wow, as I look further down, it talks about the kidneys. Some people say that Taiwan is a kingdom of prosperity, but in fact, there are also a great many people with chronic kidney failure. Looking at the 3 groups side by side, on the left is a histological image of a healthy kidney. In the middle, after administering chemotherapy drugs, the drugs are used to induce kidney failure. So you can see in the kidney histology that there are white holes, like perforations, which means the kidney is damaged. If the kidney is damaged, dialysis will be needed in the future. This is just a metaphor. Now, on the right side, the same chemotherapy is administered. But after adding the herbal compound extract, you can see that the expected damage, those holes, did not appear. So doesn't this show that it can repair and protect the kidneys? This scientific evidence makes it clear. Let's look further. Just now we looked at the kidneys, now we're looking at the lungs. The situation with the lungs is different. The alveolar cells in the lungs need to be as empty and hollow as possible so that the alveoli can perform gas exchange. So in the control group on the far left, the more hollow the alveoli are, the better they can perform gas exchange. In the middle group, due to long-term chronic respiratory inflammation, a large number of inflammatory responses have accumulated in the lungs. With prolonged inflammation, it leads to calcification, fibrosis, and the formation of connective tissue. Do you see the area I circled? This is calcification. So once these connective tissues fill up the space, the lung can no longer function properly. The process of gas exchange can't take place. But on the right side, if airway inflammation is treated with a herbal compound extract, it can help repair the calcified areas, prevent inflammation in your lungs, and help your lungs maintain their proper breathing capacity. There are too many organs to cover. I can't finish talking about them all. Let's move on to the next stop. You all know about the pancreas. Is that Auntie's husband? Oh, you caught on quickly. Compared to the healthy control group, his pancreas was examined using tissue section staining. If the tissue is stained, it appears brown, so if you don't see a deep brown color, it means the pancreas is functioning well. It can secrete enough insulin to help regulate your blood sugar. This is the healthy control group, and the group in the middle is the diabetes group, to be honest. It's not just theoretically, but in reality. When a diabetic patient is first diagnosed, their pancreatic cell function is already down to about 50%. Their pancreatic cell function has already been damaged, so in the diabetes group, the function of the pancreatic cells is impaired. So you see, when they are stained, You can't really see the brown color. The brown is very faint. You can tell from the color. Now, on the right side, the diabetes group that also received the herbal compound extract, do you notice that the brown, which was supposed to be very weak, is different? Now the color is showing up again. When the color appears, it means that the pancreatic cells have been activated. Once they're activated, they can secrete insulin on their own, and the insulin produced by the body itself is always the most natural and accurate for regulating blood sugar, much more precise than insulin administered from outside. So this herbal compound extract has activated the pancreas again. Oh, I see there's still more. I'm not done yet. There are so many organs that benefit from this. Liver function includes GOT, GPT, and also LDH, which is lactate dehydrogenase. This is an indicator for the heart. ALP, alkaline phosphatase, is an indicator for your bile duct. So this scientific paper helps us understand that these are health indicators related to liver function, the heart, and the bile duct. You can refer to the values for the healthy control group. In the disease group, did you notice that 55 increased to 126? As a result, after the intervention with the herbal compound extract, it dropped back down to 73. As for GPT, it originally was 24 in healthy individuals, but after disease, it rose to 52. Liver function spiked. However, after the intervention with the herbal compound extract, it changed again. It was reduced again to 28. Then, the third one, lactate dehydrogenase, was 368 in healthy individuals, but after disease induction, it increased to 618. Similarly, after the intervention with the herbal compound extract, it dropped again to 480. The same goes for the biliary index, which increased from 124 to 281 after disease induction. Again, after the intervention with the cow bile compound extract, it dropped to 193. So isn't this herbal compound extract, which truly helps strengthen the liver, heart, and gallbladder, really powerful? It's really powerful, isn't it? And I'm not done yet. Stomach, right? I haven't talked about the stomach yet, have I? In the healthy group, this is the stomach. And then in the animal experiment, they dissected the stomach. This is the control group. The green one is the group with stomach damage. If you look at the upper right corner, you can see bleeding in the stomach. So the blood clots and forms blood clumps. That's why you can see these dark spots. Those are the blood clots. His stomach is swollen, his stomach is bleeding, and then what? The blue section in the lower left corner represents the group with undamaged stomachs who were given stomach medicine. Indeed, their stomachs did not bleed. Then, in the middle and on the right at the bottom, those are the groups with stomach injuries. After being given low and high doses of the herbal compound extract, their gastric mucosal bleeding was improved and repaired. You see, the high dose of the herbal compound extract seems to have almost the same effect as the stomach medicine. But it doesn't have the side effects of the medicine, so now you know how impressive it is. Oh, okay. Next, when it comes to the brain, there are a lot of functional indicators. We can look at acetylcholine, we can look at memory, and we can look at cognitive function. So, what about these three indicators? Let me start with the first one. In this experiment, the research method was to measure the concentration of acetylcholine in the blood. Of course, the healthy control group had the highest level of acetylcholine, which is represented by the black bar. The healthy control group is the first one. Then, the second group, the second bar, is the group where the experiment induced amnesia. After inducing amnesia, the amount of acetylcholine secreted decreases, so the second bar is lower. Now, the third bar represents the group with amnesia that was then given Alzheimer's medication, which can increase the concentration of acetylcholine. But you need to pay attention. Although Alzheimer's drugs increase acetylcholine levels, what should you be aware of? Their side effects: nausea, vomiting, cramps, diarrhea, fatigue, and muscle spasms. So the medication will bring you these issues. Side effects are something we need to be cautious about when using these drugs. So finally, the group I've highlighted in red is also the amnesia group, but after adding the herbal compound extract, it also increases the concentration of acetylcholine. But are there any side effects? Come on, say it louder. Are there any side effects? All right, so aside from the increase in acetylcholine concentration we just mentioned, does it actually improve memory and learning ability? Can you tell from the values in this bar chart? After introducing the herbal compound extract, the bar is just as high as the one for the Alzheimer's medication. So, is it just as effective? Right? And then what about cognitive ability? It's amazing. This herbal compound extract is even more effective than the green group. Did you see that? It's even more effective than the green group. Just look at the colors and you'll know. So after discussing so many scientific papers earlier, is this scientifically formulated herbal extract really able to help us nourish our blood? It cleanses the water in the fish pond, and at the same time, it has no side effects like medication and truly benefits your internal organs. In every aspect, all the scientific evidence proves that it can help you improve. Shouldn't we give it a round of applause?